balloon that continues to float over the United States. We are going to do about it. At this point, nothing. Secretary of State Anthony Blinken has posted a response will be, the narrow response would be, it's just not staying out of the air. The broad response might be some other sort of diplomatic version of it, so we don't know exactly what's going on. We have our Jeopardy question to get to, so you want to do that now?
Yes. Get that music queued up. That one, the question executive privilege has its limits. United States versus
Speaking of balloons, the way to get this thing out of the sky, say that good morning, Carlos upstairs out to do that. Hey guys, it's clearly only one way to get these balloons down. You guys have never seen the movie Batman, the first one, where the Joker throws a tornado back at Cleary and Batman puts it back up into the sky and pulls all the balloons down to steal all the Joker's balloons? Come on, clearly that's the only way to get these balloons down so we can see what the hell's on it.
Why didn't Nora think of calling Batman here?
Because to hail Batman, you have to use that signal. And NORAD doesn't have that. The mayor of Gotham City has that. Or the police chief.
Do we call them?
No. Those don't exist.
I'm quite area,
They're trying to play out. There's a huge difference between lust and love. And Gary, I think when you were talking about smell like soup, I think that's more than lust. I think you were pointing in but more like lust. So there's a difference between those two. Love you guys.
Layla, I totally know what you're talking about. When I got divorced and it was time for me to get back out there into the dating world, I knew exactly what I wanted and exactly what I didn't want. Only just like you were saying, within that first 30 to 60 seconds, either they should be yes or they should be big no. And yes, girl.
So would that be within the first 30 to 60 seconds, it's a maybe yes or a definite no?
Definitely no. I can read them out quickly. Eye contact, just before the first word. I don't know what it is. It's like, I think I was so specific in my prayers, like, God block anything that's not meant for me. I'm very specific. Like, I pray specifically about what I want. I also ask to protect me from anything that's not good for me. That goes to, like, friendships, work, everything. I'm very specific in that. And I think because I've been so specific, it's happening. And so it's like my radar goes off like, stranger danger, run, alert, no, this is bad.
But there's some simple things you talked about earlier about what that would be automatic no's. The inability to communicate in English is probably one of them.
Well, I learned the language. I didn't say my husband couldn't live abroad, so
it's gotta have some literacy in that language. It's just, use random words. And then the other one was a simple thing which I'd never heard someone say before. The eye contact.
Eye contact matters. I think it's humor. I love that. Wow. Yeah, that's great. And just a good relationship with, like, his family, like his mom. Yes, honesty, lots of travel. I love adventure.
Honesty?
Yeah. But over the years, I've gotten less superficial. Like, you don't have to, be, H-L. Like, and before, I'm like, you just elder. Now I'm like, listen, you could be a super redhead from Ireland. Seriously.
So Layla's open to leprechauns. Oh, no? Our 9 news details, these are the stories that fell through the cracks too. We have other stuff going on, like balloons flying over.
Oh, shiny balloons.
Just our honorable mention. Honorable mention. Great and honorable Moses. Today we're holding your audition to become the newest member of Honorable Mention. Robby Wilson, a little 9-year-old girl, took it upon herself to spend hours of the summer trying to obliterate the invasive spotted lantern fly. You ever see that story? They were telling people, kill them all. Kill them all. Yeah. That's supposed to be ruin your crop. Robby Wilson goes out on the streets of a neighborhood and calls Brattleboro, New Jersey, armed with a container and with a mix of dish soap and water, which is what they said would kill off these lantern bugs. She found it on TikTok. She put a little bit of apple cider vinegar in it and everything. But somebody called the cops. A neighbor complained, quote, a little black woman walking and spraying stuff on the sidewalks and trees. She's 9 and looks 9 or 7. Yeah. Police show up, they question the mom and daughter, nothing happened, obviously, but then they went to the town council meeting, the borough meeting, the little girl's sister, her older sister, her mother, and just talked about how this completely just destroyed this young girl's self-confidence and made her, not want to be outside. I can imagine. And mom said it was a teachable moment, not for her or for her daughter, but for the community. Like, what are we doing here? So it got the attention of Yale University. You've heard of Yale. Yeah. They held a ceremony just a couple of days ago to recognize her efforts to eradicate the lanternflies and the insects that she has been killing. She's been murdering them. Will be added to the Peabody Museum collection. Close to 30 of the lanternflies that she captured will be housed there, and Bobby's name will be attached. And that picture's great. It's so fun. That's cool how it turns out. Here's number 9. Number 9. I did 9 places across the Jersey line, so I've got to say it's fun to do. Can I put my languages? Yeah, so nice. Basically, everybody says I feel ready to go another 9. So I hear you like to say 9 in there, and you call it from our lucky fucking. In Mexico, we told you that there's some crazy stuff going on in American zoos, right? Well, in Chilpancingo, Mexico, 4 pygmy goats disappeared. Well, I shouldn't say they disappeared. We know exactly where they went. The director, Jose Nava, cooked the 4 pygmy goats and served them up at a Christmas season banquet. He even still pulled off a zebra that they had at the zoo in exchange for tools that were supposed to be used. Well, it shouldn't have been in charge of the zoo. Now, he said the fact that we ate some goats does not mean that it was the ones from the zoo. Although, they were tiny little guys, and there were 4 of them, which is exactly the number and size of the goats that were missing from the zoo. Number 8. Every except missing, there is different bosses going on about missing statements. Well, let's go to Anthony Blinken, Secretary of State. He's talking about postponing the trip to China. Sorry to interrupt the nuggets here, but what is what we are prepared to have? I told Director Wong that the United States remains committed to diplomatic engagement with China and start planning to visit Beijing when conditions allow. In the meantime, the United States will continue to maintain open lines of communications with China, including to address this ongoing incident. Indeed, that's why we need direct and regular communications in the first place. And that's why it's critical that such lines remain open at all times to help avoid miscalculation and conflict. One final but important note. The world expects the United States and China to manage our relationship responsibly. And indeed, addressing many of today's global challenges that affect the lives of our people and people around the world, and naturally find a way to work together as well. The United States will continue to act in a way we look to our PRC counterparts. Now, Prime Minister and I just signed an important agreement that will guide our country's cooperation on science and technology in the years ahead. The agreement builds on one that we signed in 1992, which helped foster 2 decades of consequential collaboration. Anthony Blinken, is referring to a meeting that he had with South Korean counterparts, saying that we need to manage our relationship with China responsibly, considering they had moved a surveillance balloon over the United States, and we're just sitting there switching it. My theory early on in the show was we need to shoot the thing down. He needs to take a burning chunk of that thing, spray it to Beijing, and plop it down on a desk in front of his counterpart there, the foreign minister, and say, "Fall." That would be wonderful. Wouldn't that be nice? It's not happening. But it's going to wait for the balloon to float. Or fall into, the woods of Georgia or the Atlantic Ocean. We'll find out on Twitter when it lands. Right. Continuing with our news story, hitman for the notorious Nagrani Dead Mafia has been arrested working at a pizzeria in France after 17 years on the run. Eduardo Greco taken into custody in the French hamlet of Saint-Étienne, where he had risen to fame as an authentic Italian pizza maker.
I mean, what? Is this a picture of him?
Him.
This could be a movie. When you watch it, I would watch the pizza. The pizza must be good if you got that reputation.
Here's number 7. Liddell works for the Harvey School District 152 down in Harvey, Illinois. She's been working there for more than a decade. She's a food service director. She's accused of stealing $1.5 million worth of food, most of it in the form of cookies.
Now, this all came to light. The majority of the alleged fraud happened at the height of it. Parents were picking up those meals, though, for the
free meals. And in this case, he had ordered 11,000 cases of chicken wings and then picked up the order in a bigger cargo van. It was uncovered when the business manager for the district did a routine mid-year audit and found they were spending more than $300,000 over their annual food service budget, despite only having been halfway through the school year.
Wow.
That and the fact that every time you go to shake that woman's hand, she gets like
her nails.
Number 6. You gotta be careful, people, with your kids and your drug account or your phone and all. A Michigan man says he had a $1,000 bill from his Grubhub account after his 6-year-old ordered a smorgasbord of food from several restaurants, leading to a string of unexpected deliveries.
Oh, little Mason. What was he ordering?
The chicken wings.
Shrimp, jumbo shrimp, salad, shawarma, and chicken pita sandwiches, chili fries, and other foods.
Pete Stonehouse said his son had ordered food from so many different places that Chase Bank eventually sent him a fraud alert declining a $439 order from Happy's Pizza. But the $183 order of jumbo shrimp went through and arrived at the house.
They said his son is very intelligent. He's been reading since he was 2.5. I think he knew exactly what he was doing.
Intelligent and smart are two different things, right? It's like the guys say love and lust are two different things. Here's number 5.
Five, mother! I have 5 rules.
We begin bombing in 5 minutes. I have your 2 money.
Lose 5 pounds immediately.
You ever done this 23andMe yet?
No, I've done the other one.
Ancestry?
Yeah, Ancestry.
Homicide detectives called Jackie Viduro at the end of January saying that they matched for 23andMe DNA test kit to a 36-year-old Gold Coast murder. She's only 31. And the murder that they connected her to was 36 years ago. She said, I knew I hadn't done anything wrong, but when the police call you about a murder, you think, well, did I kill something?
Right.
She said she's living in her own Dateline episode.
It was her DNA that matched her the link to the person who was murdered?
She was a content creator, lived out in Palm Springs, went under a deal. The detective said her DNA was a possible match to an 86 cold case murder of a Jane Doe who had been fatally shot and thrown off onto the side of a road down in San Diego. And he said, Jackie said, no one had ever reported her missing, and they don't know who she is. And now they think I might be her family because of my DNA that I uploaded.
Yeah, second or third cousin of the victim. And she said, they've been talking about it. They have no idea who this woman is, where she came from. But they think she could have been like the child of someone they didn't know existed, and which is why no one reported this woman missing.
Here's number 4.
Number 4.
This isn't the same word as last one. And there is a chance that I'm going to London later this year, and I cannot wait to see a pop-up urinal.
Oh,
and there's a couple issues that I have with it. I'm not saying I'm going to use it, but first of all, it's a urinal that pops up out of the ground, out of the sidewalk, in the middle of the evening, or it's in the middle of the afternoon. In the middle of the day, you don't use urinals apparently, but in the middle of the evening along the West End, you do. Shortly after someone went to go watch Harry Potter and the Cursed Child, one of these things was going back down, hydraulically going back down into the sidewalk when a guy was crushed. Oh, that's sad. The emergency crews responded. The air ambulance team taking the guy from Trafalgar Square. Medics weren't able to save him. Here's the thing about it is that it's an open air urinal. Yeah, I see that part. People just walking by and doing their business. And I mean, it's covered enough. Those two guys in that picture, you can't see their business. I know, obviously they're doing it. It is? Yeah, I think so. They're adjusting their bell. Oh, I just say not. Number 3. You know the number of the count, and the number of the counting counting. 3. Play with Dan within 3 hours. 3. There's clearance level 3. Oh, 2. Yeah, audio for this one, right? After that, 3 days they both start to do it. 3. It's awful, and I'm afraid that I'm embarrassed to play this, but this is the sound of David Ruff breaking the Guinness World Record for from in under 30 seconds. 3, 2, 1, go. Okay, that's all I'm going to play. Joey, his partner, and himself punched each other thousands of times to make this happen. We bled, we sweated, we bruised. Okay. By the way, Russ has set over 250 Guinness World Records in his lifetime, including the title for the world's fastest swimmer, the world's slowest swimmer, most consecutive acts in Texas. This is what he does. He just sets records. What's going on, you guys? 1, 2. There's 2 sons and no women. Oh boy. You know what the villages are? The adult living complex down in Florida. You know? Everybody drives around with golf carts and things like that. I see commercials for it every once in a while. There was a whole story about how these were wild times for the people who live in the villages. Lots of swinging going on, lots of partners swapping and that sort of thing. And there became a story about if you put a gnome or an upside-down pineapple logo or sticker or even a sculpture in your yard, you were down to, come up with that. Now they're talking about loofahs. Loofahs are the signs that you want to do this sort of thing. And color-coded to determine how exactly you're willing to go and swap. Oh. Sort of thing. There is a loofah code, apparently, in different colors. White is for beginners, black is for those who want it all at the complex, other colors, teal, reserved for those who identify as bisexual, purple is for those who just like to watch all this sort of stuff. Pink, Jacob Scotland. Pink is the people who like to do it with others in the room. Oh, wow. There's number 1. Number 1, Ben. That's all the time. I just trying to look out for number 1. Are you the number 1 girl? Number 1. Number 1. What? When you started tracking up your dad, why did I have to tell it? Doctors in Australia recently removed something from a 14-year-old after he got a hold and what? Oh, boy. But, yeah. It seems that the kid was experimenting with a round white egg, like a turtle egg. It was actually a golf ball that had made its way into his sigmoid colon, which is the last section of the large intestine that connects to the rectum, and hardly knew him. The boy reportedly panicked when he couldn't dispose of the golf ball by himself, the old-fashioned way. So he told, oh man, I would not do this. He told his mother. And then his mother had to take him to the hospital. But the family doesn't like doctors. Well, I wonder why. So they had him do the laxative. And then it worked. So his father was not seen on the doctors performing a physical removal attempt. The laxative worked a few hours later. They noted a successful evacuation and no evidence of injury. And they said, don't ever do this again.
Okay.
Because, right, next time I'll use stem line.
Or Lego.
Lego hair, yeah. Layla, thank you so much.
Thank you for having me, and thank you for your wonderful listeners.
Monday rolls around, Karen should be back. Johnny Kent show is up next. We'll see you then. Stay dry, everybody. One thing for sure, the American people lost, because that was horrific. Harry and Shannon.
High-minded language, I'm just going to say it like it is. That is a
Perfect for aging indecisive minds. KFI's cooling info gel helps you relieve fury and with a real fresh scent.
time.
KOST
Los Angeles and County.
live everywhere on the NR Radio app.
Charged with murder on Dr. Mark, live from the KFI 24-hour newsroom. A murder charge has been filed against the driver accused of hitting a bicyclist and getting a point and then fatally stabbing him.
Prosecutors also filed a sentencing enhancement of personal use of a deadly weapon against 39-year-old Van Roy Smith, who is from Long Beach. The bicyclist, an emergency medicine doctor at Providence Mission Hospital named Michael Mamone, was riding down PGH Wednesday afternoon when a car plowed into the man. Investigators say Smith allegedly got out of the car and started stabbing the man in an apparent random attack. People nearby restrained Smith. Prosecutors say so far there is no known connection between the two men. At Main Central Jail in Santa Ana, Corbin Carson, KFI News.
2 people have been arrested for a shooting in Central California that killed 6 people, including a teenage mother and her 10-month-old baby. Tulare County Sheriff Mike Goodlow says one of the men arrested was first in the shootout with federal agents before being taken into custody. He's undergoing surgery. The teen mother had just been awarded full custody of her baby 3 days before the massacre in Dothan last month. The news is brought to you by the Cunning Dental Implant Center. Police say there isn't any evidence that a mass shooting was planned by a man who stockpiled guns and ammunition in his high-rise apartment in Hollywood. They say the man was arrested Tuesday after he allegedly made violent threats to security staff at the building.
Police telling me that several of the rifles found were not legal in the state of California. While they didn't find any specific evidence of a mass shooting plot-like writing, they said the totality of what they found was alarming them.
ABC's Matt Gutman says the man is pleaded not guilty to 2 counts of possession of an assault weapon and other charges. He was originally held on $500,000 bail, but a judge raised it to more than $1 million yesterday. Some state representatives are asking the USPS to create a postal stamp in honor of P-22, the mountain lion who was captured and euthanized late last year. P-22 was known for roaming the Hollywood Hills for more than a decade. In a letter to the USPS Citizens Stamp Advisory Committee, California Democratic representatives say P-22 was many things: our favorite celebrity neighbor, the occasional troublemaker, and a beloved mascot for our city. Pentagon Press Secretary Brigadier General Pat Ryder says the balloon from China that has been spotted hovering over the U.S. has violated U.S. airspace and international law. He says this is unacceptable.
First of all, we are aware of the PRC statement. However, the fact is, we know that it is a surveillance balloon.
He says the balloon is moving east and does not pose a physical threat to people on the ground. The balloon was seen over Montana earlier this week, where there are ballistic missile silos. China says the balloon is being used for weather research and was blown off course. U.S. Attorney Merrick Garland is hosting Ukraine's Prosecutor General in D.C. The pair met to talk about the ongoing cooperation and holding Russia accountable for its invasion in Ukraine.
We will continue to work closely with our international partners in support of investigation and prosecution of the atrocities that have occurred during this war.
Because the Justice Department will continue to hold Russian oligarchs accountable, as well as others whose criminal acts enable its government to continue the unprovoked and unjust war in Ukraine. And NATO has asked Russia to abide by the only treaty it has with the U.S., which limits the expansion of nuclear weapons. The KFI financial report: the Dow is closing down 128, S&P 500 down 43, NASDAQ down 194, and the average price for a gallon of regular gas in California is $4.60. Summer and weather from KFI: partly cloudy, highs upper 60s to mid-70s for Metro LA, mid-60s, mid-70s in the valley, mid-50s to around 60 for the Antelope Valley, upper 60s to low 70s inland Orange County, around 78 in Inland Empire. Right now, 63 in Seal Beach, 71 in Buena Park, 67 in Agoura Hills, and 70 in Sherman Oaks. We're going to a class on the 105 in Hawthorne. 105 eastbound. This is right before the Crenshaw Boulevard. It wasn't a lane just scattered to the shoulder, but you're going to see some really heavy traffic going away from 405. Also an eastbound. 60 eastbound before the Downey Road. Get a car spot over the rock shoulder. 82 Rivera, 605 southbound before Beverly Boulevard. That area of traffic is clearing over to the right shoulder. But the southbound side lane that was pretty good as well, and stacked up all the way from the 10. In Longest on the 710 southbound after the 405. That accident clearing over to the right shoulder is tapping the brakes from Delano Boulevard. Open Colton, 10 eastbound before the 215. Sold out car clearing to the right shoulder. In Hysteria, 15 southbound from Main Street. Sold out semi. This is blocking the right lane. Hysteria find the sky helps get you there faster. I'm Jay Harmon. Hi, Karen Taylor. I heard Hollywood Spotlight.
And the Oscar goes to
Everywhere all at once. This is a nice piece at the box office, still basking in the glow of 11 Oscar nominations. The experts at Bull Derby have the film in the lead for Best Picture, Best Director, and Best Supporting Actor for Steve Kwan. He's considered a lock for his category. Best Actress nominees Kate Blanchett and Michelle Yeoh are still neck and neck on the Gold Derby scorecard. Meanwhile, the Hollywood Reporter's Jeff Feinberg says the Academy is, quote, conducting a review surrounding the last minute campaign for actress Andrea Riseborough. And shout out to legendary songwriter Diane Warren for her 14th Oscar nomination. She tells Variety's Clayton Davis, quote, every time I get nominated, I think of it as a win. We'll see who guides win on March 12th when the Oscars air live on ABC. I'm Ellen Kay. This is iHeart Hollywood Spotlight.
today's financial minute is brought to you by Legacy Precious Metal Investors. Equity markets advance on the Fed's move to increase the short-term rate by a quarter of a percentage point. This is the smallest increase since Jerome Powell and the Fed governor started the battle against runaway inflation. Although the rate is at a level not seen since 2007, the equities markets and traders seem to move with hope and shadow of a possible reduction in rates in the near future. Chairman Powell warns against that line of thinking. Labor market shed 100,000 jobs in January alone, more than twice the amount in December, and a 440% increase since January of 2022. The tech sector is leading the way in layoffs, 41% of the total layoffs. 10-year yields on treasuries are down 7 basis points. West Texas crude oil is hovering at $76 a barrel, and the gold spot market is at $19.70, down $9 an ounce as we see the dollar getting straight against other currencies.
It can be dangerous or easy to steal your identity during tax season because so much sensitive info is all together.
Before we start the annual meeting of John's personal info, has anyone seen his social security number? Nope. Oh no.
He's been stolen. BlackRock by Norton makes it easy to help protect yourself. If you become a victim, we'll work to fix it. No one can monitor all transactions, but you can save up to 25% off your first year with promo code NEWS at LifeLock.com. Identity theft protection starts here. California just made solar more expensive, but you can lock in today's great rates at sunluck.com.
More stimulating talk.
And iHeart Radio Station.
John Cobell, Podcast Live, and 640 live everywhere on the iHeart Radio app. Welcome. We're loaded up today. Oh, right, are we? We're going to talk to a DA standing up to Gavin Newsom and the crazy people in Sacramento who passed all of these horrible criminal justice reform laws. This one will take us back away. AB 109 was passed back in the year 2011 because the prisoners don't think so. Basically says, don't send them back to state prison. If they commit something while on probation or parole, you deal with them county, locally, and usually that's like obligation. Yeah, well, one of these criminals got let out early and killed a cop in Northern California, in Selma, in Fresno County, Northern California, Fresno County, in 1 hour. We're going to start, though, with this horrible story out of Orange County that occurred the other day when an emergency room doctor, 58 years old, bicycling on Pacific Coast Highway in Virginia, was struck by a car. It looks like the car went through a red light. Now, that's not that unusual, even though it's horrible. The doctor later died. The driver got out and stabbed the doctor to death. This is really awful. So much makes you, when I think about earlier, you had such weird stories lately. I think you're beginning to get some sort of brain virus that's going to start taking over the, like the Tesla drivers, the cars, and yeah, they're called social contagion. They're so
I'm thinking of like those horror series where there's some sort of like, no, it was just in the beginning of it. A year from now, it'll be like a million people doing this stuff. Crazy people see other crazy people act out, and it kind of simmers in their brain. And then when they get triggered and get angry, they repeat the act. But I think that's behind a lot of it is a lot of the students. Let's bring on Corbin Carson covering this story for more details to try to fill us in. Corbin. Yeah, guys, as you say, we just are now getting a look at the charging documents against the driver of that vehicle from last Wednesday about 3 p.m. This is 39-year-old Van Roy Smith, and there's not a lot coming out about this case. I mean, there's a lot of details, but not a lot coming out from law enforcement, the prosecutors yet. But from the charging documents, count one, murder with malice and afterthought, and one felony enhancement of the personal use of a knife. Smith faces a maximum sentence of 25 years to life, plus 1 year if convicted on all charges. He's being held on $1 million bail. And here's a tiny bit from the arraignment hearing that just happened in the last hour. Case number 39, Rabbi, others, here. We're here today on the felony matter for charge of murder and warrant to the church on February 1st, 2023. There is an enhancement for allegation of personal use of a deadly weapon. Subject to further education. Primarily to the set of the bail, with the bail review, after that court appearance, with the notaries, the text message and the form, and the bail laws. And then it goes on about the bail, which is probably unlikely. But so that next court appearance is on the 13th. But then again on the timeline, the bicyclist is an ER doctor at Providence Mission Hospital named Michael Mamone. He was affiliated with multiple hospitals down here in Orange County, Providence Mission, Hospital Mission Viejo, Laguna Beach, Hospital Journey. And he was just, as you say, riding down PGH Wednesday afternoon around 3 p.m. when this car plowed into the man from behind. You see that there's this video out there and just watching it from a ring camera of the crash. It's unbelievable. The car appears to speed through this intersection, knocking his bike rider clear across the street. Investigators say Smith allegedly got out of his car and started stabbing the doctor repeatedly in an apparent random attack. People nearby had to restrain this guy until deputies arrived. A knife was recovered at the scene. Again, prosecutors are saying, I know there's a lot of information out there, but they're saying so far there is no known connection between these two men. When Dr. Mamone was driving his bike, was he crossing the intersection in front of Van Roy Smith, or is Smith coming up from behind him? It looks like that he comes in from behind him. Yeah, at least that's what it said, and that he's coming through the intersection and then hits him. And it's incredible to watch. Do we know, and maybe they don't know yet, whether or not Dr. Mamone had already passed away when he was hit, or the stabbing? Do we know? That also is not known as of yet. And what's interesting to me is that there is no there is no charge, at least as of yet, relating to the crash. The only charge is about the stabbing and the knife. But I have been told that this is just the initial charges up front. So we could expect some more to be coming in the near future. But just a little bit about this Van Roy Smith. I've been looking online and drudging through some social media to see if we can find out a bit about this guy. He's reported to be an accountant who owns a tax or bookkeeping service and accounts with jail. Yeah. The jail records do have him as unemployed, so we're still trying to figure out those things. And then some social media from Van Roy Smith. He's the father of two, and with roots in Jamaica and ties to the Rastafarian movement and traditional Christian roots. He posted frequently about religion on Facebook. I quickly looked at a lot of the posters. Not much mentioned about violence. The only reference I saw about violence in relation to the movie Black Panther 2, and that is sort of a review of the film. But there were a lot of comments about race, and I do want to say, I know one patient had reported that a neighbor who witnessed this, or said they witnessed this, heard what sounded like a gunshot, and that they heard this guy uttering racial slurs about white privilege. But not only do the sheriff's investigators say they have not been told about that allegation, I personally think it's interesting that there was what sounded like a gunshot. So there was no gun. So unless he's talking about the crash, it's unclear what happened. Yeah, because the crash sounded like a gunshot. Was he tested for drugs or anything? This is just so crazy. All of this is happening so fast. As of right now, I have not seen any tests for drugs, and there was no mention either in the sheriff's report or the
was why I was wondering why there's no charge for the vehicle incident, but just for the getting out and the stabbing. And it was amazing that people had to go in and stop this guy and detain him until deputies showed up. So this is going to be an interesting case to see how this plays out. And again, it came up from behind because I thought maybe there could be road rage and that there are some people who drive and really get upset with bicyclists and maybe you just have lost into that. But when you look at the intersection, there's a lot. I mean, when you look at the video, there's a lot of stuff going on, and it just doesn't really look like given. And again, this is supposition based on what you're looking at the video, but it doesn't look like he would have had time to plan as fast as he was moving to hit this one person. So it comes flying into the intersection, and there's people, turning left and right, and walking around. So, that part is going to, again, it's hard to say exactly how it could have been targeted or anything like that. And I tracked a bunch of sources on this today, and on both prosecution and law enforcement, on law enforcement side, and no one is giving any credence to the idea that these two guys knew each other or that it was targeted. I even heard the word random thrown around. And there's no criminal records with Anroy Evans Smith that you're able to find or release. So far, there's no criminal records in Orange County for this guy, but we're still looking around to see if there's something elsewhere about him that may give us some idea of why he did that. Like Corbin, thank you very much. Yeah, it's on video. You gotta do what you gotta do with the news. We see a car on video. So far, it's good enough to do. All right, thank you very much, Corbin. Thank you. All right, John, I saved this for you. But for the guy interviewed this morning who's a neighbor of the killer. I'm sorry, the alleged killer in Long Beach. Yeah, the nicest guy and kill. Kill was the word. Really kill guy. I'm running over bicyclists and jumping after stabbing him to death. It doesn't sound like a kill guy. Why I'm kind of, more roid rage or something. No, is this the same neighbor every time that they interview? I know. The same guy who's He did. He's the greatest, the nicest guy. He was so chill. I can't imagine he would do this. Sure, I can't imagine. All right. Coming up next, your chance to win $1,000. Stand by for the keyword. Johnny J. Stand by, AM 640, live everywhere the iHeart Radio app. And she's a hot take today. Just Mark live for 24-hour camp by Israel. U.S. Secretary of State Anthony Blinken has postponed his diplomatic trip to China after a balloon from that country was spotted flying over the U.S. China says the balloon was being used for weather research and it was blown off course. LA City Controller says his office will start auditing the LAPD's use of helicopters. That audit is expected to start this month. And the average American is taking home $33 an hour. That's according to the latest jobs report released by the federal government. We're going to a crash on the 605 in Almonte. Truman, 605 north, right at the Kennington after it is clean to the right shoulder, but you've already got on and off going all the way from the 5. If you're on the 605 south at Rose Hill, that earlier pass clear to the right shoulder, but you'll keep delayed from Valley Boulevard. In Commerce, 5 south of Garfield, got a right clear into the shoulder. It's still going to be heavy from the 10. In East LA, 6 eastbound, right at Brown, you got a car fire on the shoulder. And on the 5 north, right at the 10 east connector, got a car that's sideways in that connector lane. KFI in the sky helps get you there faster. I'm Jim Harmon. This year's the Newsmax. AT&T DirecTV just canceled Newsmax. Now you can't get the Newsmax channel on DirecTV or Uverse. Now, Newsmax is the 4th highest rated cable news channel. The DirecTV still keeps a lot of news channels and things from a lot. It's censorship. That's what they say. You can make a difference by canceling DirecTV and even AT&T services like cell phones and wireless. Newsmax says we must oppose whole company. They want you to stand for free speech. Text the word TURN to 39747. Newsmax will send you the key numbers. Call and the petition to stop this censorship. So millions are joining. You can too. So text TURN now to 39747. That's TURN to 39747. Stand with Newsmax for free speech. Act today. We Las Vegas welcomes you to Awakening, a new theatrical experience created by award-winning artists. Enriched by spectacular sound, meet colorful characters, and journey with them through wondrous realms. Experience Awakening. Get your tickets at awakening.com. Addressing hair loss has never been easier thanks to advanced hair restoration, simple one-day treatment. The most difficult part? Making the call for your free consultation. Trillion and Assets First National Realty Partners offers investors access to institutional quality real estate, featuring national brand tenants such as Walmart, Kroger, Whole Foods, and many others. FNRP is one of the largest indicators of grocery-anchored private equity real estate in the U.S. Build your portfolio today with our investor relations team. Call 888-301-9010. That's 888-301-9010. Or get started at fnrpradio.com. That's fnrpradio.com. Call or visit us to see what annual returns and quarterly cash distribution our investors are earning. 888-301-9010 or fnrpradio.com. Results are not guaranteed with risk of losing your principal. Securities are only available to verified accredited investors. Any representations as to stability, diversification, security, or resistance to inflation reflect our belief in such outcomes and may or may not be realized. Cash distributions are not guaranteed. Past performance is not an indicator of future results. Visit us at fnrpradio.com.
So this part they give you the silent treatment. You know, just when you want to talk about something tender, they change the channel, they walk out of the room, they dismiss you, they give you the silent treatment when they're angry. Well, psychologists call this stonewalling, and there are some ways to deal with the stonewalling.
Dr. Wendy Wall, Monday to 4 on KFI and on demand anytime on the IR Radio app. Now, to win $1,000. Just enter the nationwide keywords on our website. Bills, that's Bills, BILLS. Enter it now at KFIAM640.com/cash. Powered by Sweet Games Accident Attorney. If ever an accident, winning is everything. Call the winning attorneys at Sweet Games. 800-500-5200. That's 800-500-5200 or sweetgames.com. Now, here's the winning keyword, Bills. Enter Bills at KFIAM640.com/cash. If you win, you get a happy email. Check your junk spam folder. Listen to KFI. There's a winning keyword every weekday. From the 6 a.m. hour with Handel to the 6 p.m. hour with Conway. That's the chance to win at 220, by the way. Please just look out the back window. Chinese balloons over bourbon. You're just going to say that's the big story today. Actually, the Chinese spy balloon. Isn't it cool? How big is this? You know, is it like, especially when people go up in a hot air balloon, something like that? It's smaller. It's visible. Because a bunch of people in Montana last night took video. Shoot it down! At first, it looks like the moon, right? Because it looks white. But they showed you on the videos, they said, okay, this is the moon, and then they panned over to the left. And it was a much smaller white dot, clearly visible. And the guy on the video saying, I have my, astronomical software where you can track the planets and the stars. While you're standing on ground, right? You can look up and identify what you're looking at. And he says, that shouldn't be there. That's not a planet. That's fun to start. I wonder if our own defense system is fun. Stories is started making news yesterday afternoon. I was looking at it like, wow. Spy balloons. Of course, the Chinese say it's just a weather balloon. Don't be concerned. Well, they're collecting weather data. Our people, and it blew off course. Yeah, so the Pentagon is saying that, no, it is a surveillance balloon. It is not a weather balloon. And it moved over to Montana, and Montana has several PBMs. Yeah, they have the nuclear missiles, the ballistic missiles. Yeah, right. So they get where they are. That's why there's a Montana Republican congressman who's saying, you got to do something about this. This could be serious. It could be collecting vital information. Now, last no site. Looking at this, it's got the balloon on the screen. They've been running continuous coverage on all the cable news channels today of the balloon, following the balloon. Now, now they don't want to see kids. They thought it might hurt people in there in the right places. What's the nonsense? Because it's over Montana. But Montana does have some farms. It's got enormous amounts of wide open spaces. I heard they're going to wait till it's actually really wide open spaces, and then maybe it was over wide open spaces. They chose not to shoot it down for whatever reason. They don't want to start an international incident. If you can't shoot somebody down over Montana, if you can't shoot it down over Montana, then you can't shoot it down anyway. Because it's just about as wide open as you're going to get in that. Right. And now it's supposed to be over Missouri, Kansas area. Oh, so it is heading east. It's like southeast. Southeast. There's a huge Arctic air mass that's moving south and east. And now, is there somebody kind of controlling it, or it's just kind of floating along? I don't know. It's like a drone, or I mean, they can easily send a signal to it to move it in one direction or another. You know, the way we can control the the Mars rover, right? Right. We can send a signal and get the rovers go left and right and into the. I imagine that's how this works. Yeah. So it's kind of puzzling because they do have satellites, so they can do all this spy investigation with the satellites. But then what are they doing with this thing? They right 40 minutes ago she spotted over Kansas, according to it. Right. So I don't know if they got caught up in the wind, or the Chinese are trying to get it out of America. They're headed for Mexico's in Kansas too. Do we have stuff there? I don't know. Probably. Yeah, I think we do a lot of stuff in the Midwest, and there's probably a lot of stuff we don't even know about that they've never admitted to. I mean, it's taking it so seriously that the defense secretary, the secretary of the trip to China. Yeah, he's postponing the trip. On to Blinken. Yeah. So that'll show you I'm not coming to meet you. Yeah. Really? That's what we had a response to. The party's off. Did you see that general that said a week or so ago he thinks there's going to be big trouble with China in the year 2024 because they're going to use our elections to maybe invade Taiwan? Did you see all that stuff that came out? Yeah, so he's wondering if it will lead to a real war. They're going to unleash their laboratory virus and kill the million Americans. That is not completely proven, Mr. Trump. So a weather balloon. What's weird about it is they do have the satellites, but from what I heard, the satellites are constantly moving, right? Here with this weather balloon, it can be in a fixed position for a while. So perhaps it is capable of doing things more easily than a satellite. Now, what they'd be looking for up above that you can't get from Google Maps, I don't know. But then again, I don't know what a spy operation, and I don't know what kind of detection systems they have inside of the balloon. I don't know. Nobody knows what they're looking for exactly. Right. But they said certainly our government, at least publicly, we don't know. Everybody could be lying, but publicly they don't trust the Chinese. I heard a general today from the Pentagon do a press conference, and the reporters asked him 17 different ways about the balloon, and he just kept saying we're monitoring. Well, if it's collecting important data, that's not a good answer. No, it's not. You need to scramble it or something. So, apparently our fighter pilot scrambled early on when it was first detected. But the military guys went into Biden's office, and he said, well, what do you want me to do? What should we do? And they said, well, just stand down for now. Let's just keep watching. Because Biden would have gone along with shooting it down. I think we should have shot it down immediately. Just to show them, don't even think about it. Just blow that thing to bits. I do have a quote from President Joe Biden after he was briefed on the surveillance balloon, the Chinese surveillance balloon. His response was, I like balloons. Where's the party? We're money on that? Not yet. We're working on it. We're inside a meeting, so we're trying to get some secrets. Oh, it's a big white balloon. Yeah, I think it's funny. It's somebody's birthday. Could this be the beginning of collecting data they need for the big war in 2024? Yeah, I want to be really conspiratorial now. I want to rip this up. And I don't know why. But Mark, another reason getting John's bunker. I was going to say, don't you have things in your bunker, John, that can tell you what exactly is going on with this balloon? I mean, you don't have anything sophisticated in there? The technology there? I go over the top. I have a geyser test. I did buy that. Okay. So if there's written. Okay, that will be a price. Okay. Right. But nothing else, and you can't tell us anything else? No, I have a compass at home. Okay. And I have a telescope. Oh. Yeah. All right. So we can track the balloon, the radiation balloon, yeah. In New York City, it's not over Burbank, but we believe it's over somewhere in Kansas. Well, what the hell is that big white thing out there then? Well, maybe it's the second balloon. I mean, John, what are you doing here? I'm surprised you're not running back to the bunker right now. I might be Steve Gregory. I might have made a mistake. We're going to have what's going on later. ABC News to say if I was all the latest on the balloon drama. Or the balloon thing. Yes. I don't know if you went to U.S. Fox. But that was kind of an exciting day. I got hooked on the coverage. There's continuous coverage all day. The balloons in the TV, watching the balloons float along. That's all I need. What are you in the hole? All right, more coming up. Johnny 10 KFIA, 640 live everywhere that I don't radio live. 7 Mark live in 24-hour KFI newsroom. A convicted felon has been arrested for allegedly punching several athletes during a high school girls basketball game in Corona. Cops say the man
yesterday. Police say they searched his home and found more than 40 dogs on his property. Animal control says there were animal cruelty factors present at the house. Police in Bell Gardens have arrested a woman who allegedly stole a puppy in a violent attack with its owner. The 1-month-old Milky Q has also been recovered. The woman allegedly pepper sprayed and pushed the dog's owner at her pet store Monday. The news was brought to you by Southern California Edison. Officials in Texas say a man shot by police apparently called 911 on himself. Deputies were called early yesterday morning about 2 trespassers, including one with a gun. Deputies found one man who looked like the person the caller described. Montgomery County Sheriff Specialist Steve Squire said the man was shot when he pointed a shotgun at deputies.
Our deputies are now going to go through the mental status of having discharged a weapon and caused injury of this nature because of the way this person behaves.
The man survived being shot multiple times. And lots of us will be winging it while we watch the Super Bowl. Americans are expected to eat a record amount of chicken wings while they enjoy the big game. The National Chicken Council predicts football fans will consume 1.45 billion chicken wings over the Super Bowl 57 weekend. That's up about 84 million wings from last year's big game. The organization said a return of Super Bowl gatherings combined with more favorable prices are reasons for the increase. Jennifer Jones leads KFI News. We're going to go to the 215 next.
Getting hurt in an accident, that can happen to anybody. If you're ever hurt in a car, a motorcycle, trucking accident, or even get a bad dog bite, there's only one return to call, and that's free-getting accident 30 at 800-500-5200. Now, for the last 15 years, CKs have helped tens of thousands of injured accident victims get medical treatment needed and have won almost $1 trillion for their clients. There's 188 million settled in 2022. Being hurt after an accident has a major impact on your life. Life for you need, but you take it out alone. Blue Jays has been awarded 6 attorneys in America, and personal injury is all they do. Now, Blue Jays is sweet to you, but tough for the insurance companies to hold them accountable. They're driven by their purpose to help you when you need them the most. If you're hurt in an accident, call for free consultation 24/7, 800-500-5200, 800-500-5200, BlueJays.com.
Southline weather from KFI, partly cloudy, highs upper 60s to mid-70s for Metro LA, mid-60s to mid-70s for the valleys, mid-50s to around 60 in the Central Valley, upper 60s to lower 70s for Inland Orange County, and around 70 for the Inland Empire. Right now it's 67 for Laguna Woods and Rancho Santa Margarita. We're going to a crash on the 215 in Riverside. From the 215 southbound before you get to Box Range Road, that crash involving a motorcycle has the center divider area blocked at 34 from Iowa Avenue, like Elsinore, 74 eastbound, right at Ortega Oaks, the candy store, much the line is partially blocking that one lane. Also in Alhambra on the 10 eastbound, this is right before you get to Fremont Avenue, disabled vehicle blocking the right lane. In Santa Fe Spring, 605 north out of the 5, that crash still over on the right shoulder. KFI in the sky helps get you there faster. I'm Jimmy Harmon.
This year, it's easier to learn a new language with Rosetta Stone. No matter what inspiring you to learn a language, travel, work, family, or just for fun, the Rosetta Stone app makes it easy to get started and stay motivated to reach your goals. Right now, get a lifetime unlimited subscription with forever access to all 25 of Rosetta Stone's languages for 40% off. Visit RosettaStone.com today and save 40%. Rosetta Stone, how language is learned. Before I started Rooter Hill Plumbing, I was an angry young man. Hello, I'm John Coyan, founder of Rooter Hill Plumbing. I was angry because my dad died when I was 17 and he left me alone. I was angry because I couldn't go to college with my friends and because I had to drop out of high school. It's not a pleasant story. But as I grew older, I also grew up. I realized that my dad didn't leave me alone. He left me with values and principles that continue to shape my life. Dad said, be on time. He didn't like it when people were late. He taught me to be polite. It was something I lost, but he captured along the way. And he taught me to keep my promises, because broken promises lead to broken relationships. We preach and teach these values at Rooter Hill Plumbing. I think we have a pretty good company. I know we have great people. And if one of our heroes fails to live up to these values, please call me. My private number is on the back of every Rooter Hero business card. You can also reach us at RooterHero.com. Thank you. This is Jacob Amani. If you've been in an accident, call 844-24-JACOB.
An iHeart radio station.
Download the free iHeartRadio app for all your music, radio, and podcasts. More on the John Ken Show. John Kilbell, KCFO, KFI, and 640 live everywhere in the iHeartRadio app. Yeah, we're now on from 1 to 4. So if you listen live, check out the podcast, which you can find on the iHeartRadio app or at KFIA640.com. Everything's ahead of us, including the Moist Line 2 rounds, and of course, we will have hats for the dumpster. This is fresh meat. Fresh meat for the dumpster today. Something that we've never thrown in and barely have talked about in the past. We'll go in the dumpster in the 3 o'clock hour. We'll be joined by the Fresno County DA. He's at this camp after the news at 2 o'clock. We get into it with Gavin Newsom, a young police officer in Selma, California, which is up in Fresno County, was murdered. Gonzalo Carrasco Jr., a father to be, was shot to death by, you guessed it, a bad guy who was released from prison under AB 109 called the Prisoner Dumping Bill. And that's the one that really racked up a lot of problems over the years. Because remember, Keith Boyer, police officer in Whittier, the man that murdered him also benefited from AB 109. So Gavin Newsom is the governor, and here's the demonstration. This guy was let out early, and he killed the cop. And now Newsom is playing the game of, well, let's change the subject. And he's doing the same thing he did with the old people that were shoplifting. Yeah. The prosecutors aren't doing their job. He's saying it's a Smith camp. They're not prosecuting it. Newsom is blaming prosecutors when a guy gets out real early from prison and kills a cop. It's not Newsom's fault. And the problem with AB 109 is not that they get out early, but we can't send them back to state prison when they violate the terms of their release. That's the problem. And you have to take care of them locally, and the local jails don't have a lot of room for these guys. Remember, they used to call it the 10-day flash incarceration? Well, instead of getting a year or two back in the state prison, they're just doing revolving door in a matter of days. So the problem with AB 109 is this, even with a cop case, you can't help acting like a dirtbag, blaming everybody else for his incompetence and failure. Newsom's policies are killing cops. It's happened repeatedly down here in Southern California, and now it happened in the Fresno. So we're going to play the audio of Newsom attacking the Fresno County DA. Lisa Smith Camp will talk to her in about 30 minutes. They have arrested 2 men who they think were involved in killing 6 people, including a teen mother and her baby, up in Tulare County. Remember that? That happened a couple of weeks ago. It was a small town, a farm town called Goshen. There was a big gun battle. The Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, Firearms, and Explosives went in there this morning to take these guys into custody, and yeah, they must be guilty because they returned fire. They didn't want to be taken willingly. Yeah, not an accident. An innocent crowd there. You know, 25-year-old Noah Davis Beard of the Visalia and 35-year-old Angel Manu going up there. They Goshen were arrested, and there's the second guy that engaged in the gun battle with the sex, and he's been wounded. So they took him to the hospital. He's supposed to survive. This is one where they killed a 16-year-old mother and her little tiny baby. That was like this. They're both, by the way, Norteno gang members. So I guess there was some affiliation with gang violence, and again, a lot of this is over the illegal drug trade, and some of it's over the illegal marijuana flow. When you say children, that's a hallmark of what gangs do. Because gangs are completely psychotic and depraved. And so the 70-year-old grandmother, the 16-year-old woman, and her infant. Yeah, that's what they did. And they wiped out 3 other people, too. So that's the latest on that story. Now from the world of weirdness, I really do believe there's some sort of virus infecting people out in San Bernardino County. In the San Bernardino police station, a guy walked in and dropped off human remains and left. Can you imagine that? Well, they thought it was animal remains, but they tested and they found that the jawbone was human that he dropped off. And I kept thinking, well, how did he just walked in there and he dropped off the remains on the front desk and walked out, and nobody said, hey, what's this? And he left before the officers could stop us. Could stop him. What were they, asleep? Everybody on break? What? I mean, you guys said they're a public counter. A guy walks in and puts a human jawbone on the counter, and all these police, nobody ran and jumped him. Nobody was kneeling in the front desk.
and maybe they were busy doing things, but I didn't notice them, and it walked out. So I'm sure they have surveillance video, right? To figure out. Well, they say this Hispanic, 35 years old, 5'7", 160 pounds, full beard mustache, wearing a black hoodie and blue jeans. Anyone recognizes him should call the San Bernardino police. Well, what are they going to do? He walked right into the station in front of a bunch of them. Here's a jawbone? And why did he do that? Did he find it on his property and just thought, well, they can take care of this? They can do the testing and figure out who this was and do some kind of investigation? But no, but he didn't say anything, right? I want to remain anonymous, so I'm just dropping off the names like that. All right, so what was somebody executed? Are they animal? Are they art? I'm sorry. Are they animal remains, or are they connected to the guy with the jawbone? All we know is the jawbone was confirmed to be from a human being. The rest of the remains are not even sure what they were. Just walking down the road and found that bone, or I have no idea. Yeah, right. I don't know. They're trying to find him, to get an answer. But yeah, now they're left with a pile of bones, and wow, pretty slow reaction time there with the San Bernardino police. I know. And it's like, when you have the nerve, if you're a human jawbone, you're going to drop off the police. Do you think you'd be able to get out of there? I would not. And I would think that if you really got a story to tell you, you turn around and explain why you're dropping off this stuff. I mean, just drop off. Oh, I mean, I'm just to walk out. You think the very great. He found them, right? I don't know, maybe on his property, he was doing some digging or gardening, right? He found the remains and he said, well, I'll get back to those. But you would think, oh, yeah, there's the picture of him from the surveillance video. Yeah, it does look like a 35-year-old Hispanic. You see the picture there from Channel 5? Yeah. Well, they're all dressed in dark. Let's see, a 35-year-old Hispanic on in San Bernardino. Oh, now he's down. Hey, did you see the water main break last night in Hollywood? Another LAWC special. Yeah. I turned on the 10 o'clock news. That was quite a guster. And I kept thinking, oh, that house next door and that car, and some cars parked on the street there. They're exciting to watch when they finally blow. Yeah, on Townsend Avenue, well, that's awesome city. And now they have it, well, the geyser of water was shooting 30 feet into the air. The sinkhole, there was a sinkhole that appeared, right? It's an enormous sinkhole. Yeah. You can leave a fire truck in there. The rear of the fire truck is an no gun with that. It's only fire department's electric fire engine. The rear part fell into the growing hole. Oh, so then he was able to drive out just because the sinkhole got bigger. The engine did sustain minor damage. So there's not really an engine on an electric vehicle. It's kind of just a battery. The puzzle people is just the front of the front engine. How big is no noise? All the electric vehicles make no noise. Right. The pipe is reportedly 93 years old. Yes, let's get into quaking balloons. 93. Yep. Although LAPWC plans to replace the rusted segment, they will be carefully monitoring it in the meantime, which means the rest of that pipe is 93 years old. I would say so, right. So they laid it down in 1930 and did no upgrade since 1930. There apparently were two other minor breaks too nearby. I don't think they were connected, but it seems like a lot just happened in that area in just the last day or so. This happened place in Rosewood Avenue in Hancock Park, and a smaller one in the city's body. Well, they insist that the national average, LADWP is lower than the national average, fewer than 17 weeks for 100 miles. And that time is 25 weeks per hour. They've always got some stupid statistics. All I know is I saw water shooting 30 feet in the air and a sinkhole big enough to swallow a fire engine. And there were reports of women trapped in a home there with a gun. You can see their house right next to it after pummeled. It's like the water. And it's a drought. Darn it. Yeah, well, they're all that wasted water. My God, blaming us. You don't let water like that stream out. We got more coming up. Johnny 10, 10 to 5, and 640 live everywhere on the iHeart Radio app. 7 March Live, 24-hour KSI News. A murder charge has been filed against the driver accused of hitting a bicyclist and being a point and then fatally stabbing the man. 2 people have been arrested for a shooting in Central California that killed 6 people, including a teenage mom and her 10-month-old baby. U.S. Secretary of State Anthony Blinken has postponed his diplomatic trip to China. The announcement comes after a balloon from China was spotted flying over the U.S. From the Southern California Toyota Dealers Traffic Center, let's go places. We're going to crash on the 91 in Cerritos. And we're westbound, riders are coming up on the 605 that refuge, clearing to the shoulder, a little slow there. And on the flip side, 91 eastbound Cary Avenue got a sold-out vehicle blocking the left lane. It's going to be stacked up from Central Avenue. Class in Inglewood, 405 northbound Howard Hughes Parkway. That accident is blocking the on-ramp. It's only heading from the 105 and Cerritos on the 101 northbound right at Woodman. Got a hit and run making its way to the right shoulder there. KFI in the sky helps get you there faster. I'm Judy Harmon. Accidents don't character driving to a doctor's appointment, taking your kids to school, or heading to a holiday party. Accidents do happen, and this time of year is busier than ever. We have helped thousands of victims at the worst times. We're here if you need us. 888-OPO-WIN. OPOLAW.com. This report is sponsored by personal injury firm Owens, Patterson and Owens. Accidents don't character driving to a doctor's appointment, taking your kids to school, or heading to a holiday party. Accidents do happen, and this time of year is busier than ever. We have helped thousands of victims at the worst times. We're here if you need us. 888-OPO-WIN. OPOLAW.com.
Big news for Newsmax. AT&T DirecTV different financial Newsmax. Now you can't get the Newsmax channel on DirecTV or Uverse. Now, Newsmax is the fourth highest rated cable news channel. The DirecTV still keeps a lot of news channels and pays for the lot. It's censorship. That's what they say. You can make a difference by canceling DirecTV and even AT&T services like cell phones and wireless. Newsmax says we must oppose woke companies. They want you to stand for free speech. Text the word TURN to 39747. Newsmax will send you the key numbers to call and their petitions to stop this censorship. So millions are joining. You can too. So text TURN now to 39747. That's TURN to 39747. Stand with Newsmax for free speech. Act today. Yeah. Visit HoustonFoods.org or call 833-422-4255. That's the medication to treat COVID-19. Brought by the California Department of Public Health.
Are you a business owner, CEO, or responsible for marketing? If you are, iHeart Media can help you reach your goals and find new customers. We reach more consumers in your target area than anyone else. And we can give you access to those potential customers more cost effectively across radio, digital, podcasting, and social. We'd love to show you how iHeart Media can work for you. From your cell dial pound 250 and say keyword great results. That's pound 250 and say great results.
I was up last night till 3:30, drinking beer, eating these pretzel sticks. They're all salt. So I wake up in the morning, and again, my wife has hired a cut man. So he comes in at 9:30, and he cuts me open so I can start my day. Let's get kind of like doing your show. Come on, man. It's expensive, man. It's expensive and messy, too. Live 4 to 7 p.m. on KFI. And on demand anytime on the iHeartRadio app. This morning, live everywhere on the iHeartRadio app, and we're on from 1 to 4 live after 4 o'clock on the podcast. Yeah, right. On the computer, that's the iHeartRadio app. I've been waiting around for a repairman. Oh, are you fearfully connected? I am, yes. Yeah, there's an hour back to pay your power bill, your internet bill. And I shouldn't have it shut off because it was pay the bill. There was a power out. Oh, I thought you were going to do a GoFundMe for you. Well, you can do that if you want. I'll take it. I'm on so far. They never bothered to start it up. All right. Coming up after 2 o'clock, Special County DA Lisa Smith will join us. She's taking on Gavin Newsom, and good for her, about California's criminal reform laws, including AB 109, the prisoner dumping bill, may have been responsible for yet another police officer murder. This is in a small town up in Fresno County called Selma. A 24-year-old police officer was shot to death by another career criminal. We'll talk to Lisa after the news at 2 o'clock. Well, it's a sellout, John. Tomorrow, it's the big memorial celebrating the life of P-22, the large cat that was put down.
a few weeks ago because it was old. He's 22. He didn't really have a name, just not lying, he's 22. Died on December 17th. Actually, you could also. After eating chihuahuas. An actual bizarre crime of eating chihuahuas. Well, dementia maybe. Is there such a thing as non-lying dementia? I supposed to learn a chihuahua from, I don't know, a rat or whatever else. I don't really understand. We can live stream this so Deborah Mark, you can still see it. You can. If you didn't get a ticket to the Greek
No, I didn't get a ticket.
it's the news to see tomorrow. And that mental midget, Adam Schiff, Mr. Beady Eyes, the congressman from Burbank, is running to be a senator. He wanted to make a splash. They just announced it this week. He wants a T-22 postage stamp. Yeah, sure. I went to the post office the other day, and there was some confusion and miscommunication, but he ended up giving me 2 Nancy Reagan stamps right there. Yeah, Nancy Reagan. That was followed by a group of Title IX stamps. I'm like, Title IX stamps? Title IX. Oh, that's funding for girls in sports. Yeah, right, when college women's athletes, right. I just stared at it. I just asked for forever stamps. So it's already self-doing. Yeah, so I just want flag stamps. Yeah, it says the T-22 stamp could show the kind of support the mountain lion enjoyed in California. By the way, what? There's 6,000 seats in the Greek theater. They're sold out. They're very popular. Are people going to get up there and talk about their memories of T-22? And there's a lot of mountain lions.
But he was the famous one.
He's the only one that hung out with the car. He crossed the freeway, John, 2 of them, to get there.
He was cracking people.
I'm just not bold. I'm not giving it either, but are they charging the ticket? Will people cry? Will there be organ music? Will there be family members coming up and family members? What, other mountain lions? Yeah, there's mountain lions in your T-22. Maybe some of the females he impregnated over the years and their kids. Oh no, it's free, but you have to pay $20 for parking. Oh, geez. Yeah, you had to grab the tickets. They weren't free. You had to grab them early. There's actually the Citizen Stamp Advisory Committee, an 11-member group that reviews thousands of submissions each year. They will consider the proposal for T-22 on a stamp. They've honored the wildlife photographer Ansel Adams, a sculptor. Sierra Nevada's someone named Ruth Sala. We should be on a stamp. The mountain lion got on one. Maybe we should do a sample. Why are you so overlapping in there? That is Jonathan. That's Jonathan stamp. Yes.
That would be quite lovely, actually.
Look, I don't use as many stamps as they use. We were going to let you in on the stamp.
Oh, I love the idea.
Like that.
Oh, love the idea.
You do it. No.
Jonathan is a news reader, as Ken likes to call me.
Well, why not? Or you want to be called a news presenter? That's what they say in the UK.
A news anchor is the appropriate term.
An anchor seems kind of over the top. Like an anchor in the junk.
I'm anchoring the news portion of the show. How's that?
I don't know. We've done more good than this outline here. Now, this story just for John Kovac. I know he's been following this in the news, and a group of Latino lawmakers in Connecticut, Democrats, all right, I want to be clear about that, want to ban the term Latinx from official government documents. It's offensive to Spanish speakers. Yes, it's on the complete other side of the aisle. It's completely disrespectful to the Spanish language. The Spanish language accounts for male and female with O's or A's on the end, like Latino or Latina. Yeah, there's people that, well, you're right, Latinx, Latinx is supposed to be gender neutral. Well, it's supposed to include transgender. But that's the whole thing. A lot of these changes, it's all about transgender. In fact, we went through a whole list from the New York Times of ridiculous language changes, either from medical researchers or universities or, the Associated Press style books. I think you're conflating here. May I have a word? What? Because I like the word conflating. But besides that, I think it's more about non-binary. See, if you're transgender, And let's say you transition from male to female, and maybe now you want to be called her, she, and Latina. But if you're somebody that decides you're non-binary, you don't like either one, Latino or Latina. So that's what it's not like. We can't distort the language for everybody, for, well, not everybody, there's a small percentage of people that identify as non-binary. Sure, and I'm sure there's subcategories that come from that, and then they're going to complain about something. Now, it's a language. And it's been around for hundreds of years, and it has a certain order and certain rules. And according to Spanish language experts, Latino is the default to describe anybody. Everybody, right. Although I used to think that meant male, but it says Latino is for everybody. It does mean male, or it can mean everything. Because I remember the times you could say Latino for Latino. But that really exists. This is something that is, well, nobody in Spanish culture likes it. They've done repetitive polling, and only 3% of the Spanish use it, and they're probably all weird professions. Right, or people who work for the Associated Press. But all the normal people are happy with the language as it is, and it does the job. And there's something about them forcing constant messaging through all these. What are the ones we were talking about yesterday? Sex feeders instead of breast feeders.
Yeah.
What was the one? I want to two off. It was.
Well, the menstruating one, what was that?
Menstruating uterus. Oh, yeah. A person with a uterus instead of a woman.
I remember that other menstruating one, and I said, well, what if they're not menstruating anymore? I forgot what happened.
I think a person who menstruates. Everything is a person who, like, person who menstruates, person with a uterus, and then ASAP.
Oh, that's right.
ASAP is what's really bad.
Yeah.
And that is.
That's what you're going to call me now.
I'm thinking it's ASAP for ASAP fibrillation. You're rejected.
Well, I mean.
You're accepted.
No.
Did I get it yourself? Yes, you're a scientific person.
I was.
Yeah. Well, yeah, so now women are ASAP. No, so what are men then? AMAS. Oh, AMAS. Assigned male term. See, we're not men or women, it's what was assigned to us by the doctor who delivered us. It doesn't mean we really are male or female. It was just designated on our birth certificate.
Still have breasts. So that to me, that didn't make sense that you're not allowed to say breasts. It has to be chest.
Yeah, I didn't know. Some of this stuff.
That was bizarre.
I think it ought to be largely ignored. It's damn crazy. You're giving people more time than they deserve. When we come back, Fresno County DA Lisa Smith Camp will be our guest. She's taken on Gavin Newsom over the death of a police officer in Fresno County at the hands of a guy with a long criminal record who, what do you know, looks like he benefited from one of those great criminal justice reform laws that's famous for infamous AB 109, the prisoner dumping bill. John at 10 KFI AM 640 live everywhere in the iHeartRadio app. John and you've heard any of our secret advice control hidden messages recently? No? That's because we're really good at it.
Harry Test Time.
KOST HD2.
Los Angeles, iTunes.
Live everywhere on the iHeartRadio app.
Little Stars, John Depp remarks live from the KFI 24-hour newsroom. A man accused of running over and then fatally stabbing a bicyclist in Dana Point has been charged with murder.
A sentencing enhancement of personal use of a deadly weapon has also been filed against 39-year-old Andrea Smith. Investigators say Providence Mission Hospital Dr. Michael Mamone was just driving down PGH late Wednesday afternoon when a car plowed into him from behind. Then Smith allegedly got out of his car and started stabbing Mamone until people standing nearby restrained the guy. Mamone died at the hospital. Investigators say there is no known connection between the two men. Smith pleaded not guilty and is being held on $1 million bail at Men's Central Jail in Santa Ana. Corbin Carson, KFI News.
LA City Council has signed off on a proposed 168-room Marriott hotel in South LA. The local planning commission had denied the permit for the hotel over concerns the city-owned land should be used for affordable housing instead. The 7-story building would be located on a site that's been vacant since 2010. The Marriott would be the first union hotel in the district. Neighborhoods in the state with higher electric vehicle purchases are experiencing better air quality and improvements in public health. A new study published yesterday in Science of the Total Environment for every additional 20 EVs per 1,000 people, there was a 3.2% drop in the rate of asthma-related emergency room visits. The study also suggests there has been a small reduction in levels of nitrogen dioxide, a pollutant that is contributing to the reddish-brown tint of smog in California. Two former Memphis Fire Department employees have had their EMT licenses suspended for failing to give critical care to tiny nickels who was treated by police. The state's emergency medical services board during an emergency meeting. 5 black officers have been fired and charged with sexual and other charges in the beating earlier this month. Nichols died 2 days later. 2 more officers have been suspended. Pentagon Press Secretary Brigadier General Pat Ryder says the balloon from China that's hovering over the U.S. is moving east and is not a physical threat to people on the planet. He says it's currently over the center of the continental U.S. Ryder says similar balloon activity has been seen in the past several years.
Again, I think what makes this different is the duration and the length of which it has been over U.S. territory.
Chief of the Pentagon told China that its balloon is violating U.S. airspace, and international lobbies also confirmed that the balloon is a surveillance satellite and will be over the U.S. for a few days. China says it's not using the balloon to spy on the U.S. It says it's for weather research and was blown off course. Agriculture officials have proposed a new nutrition standard for school meals in the U.S. Plan announced by the Agriculture Secretary aims to significantly decrease sodium in school food by 2029.
It is one of the most important things we can do, I think, to fix the food that children have in schools. In the early case,
Health expert Dr. Saliki Kumanita says he's really pleased to see the final guidance come out. This is the first item that will see a decrease in schools across the country will be beef breakfast and pizza. We are going to go to the 215. Actually, we're not. We're going to go to the KFI financial report. The Dow closed down 128, S&P 500 down 43, NASDAQ down 194, and the average price of a gallon of regular gas in California is $4.60. Southland weather from KFI, it's cloudy tomorrow, highs around 70 for Metro LA, mid-60s to low 70s in the valley, upper 50s to mid-60s in the Antelope Valley, low 70s inland Orange County and the Empire. Right now it's 71 in Tustin, 63 in Laguna Beach, 66 in Fontana, and 72 in Van Nuys. Let's go to a crash on the 215 in Riverside. From the 215 southbound, right before it gets to Central, now they aren't getting that out of the middle lane, but in the backup, right as you're coming up on Blaine Street, get a brand new crash there, that's in the middle lane. Over on your 215, it's going to be a slow right southbound, all the way from the 10. In Rubio, 15 Senator Boulevard, get crash clear to the right shoulder. In here alone, at 60 East Santa Country Village Road, heads up, some boxes are lined across those middle lanes. Also in Chino at the work zone on the 60 westbound, between Lamont Avenue over to Reservoir Street, the 2 right lanes are closed, and you've got a heavy ride from Euclid Avenue. In Corona, 91 East on Green River, Cadillac clearing from the lanes. You're going to be getting a break though anyway from Imperial Highway. Heading out to Desert Center. Still got a really tough track here. This is Death Path Palm Springs on the 10 eastbound. Right after Red Cloud Road, it's an accident blocking the right lane. There's got a diesel spill as well. So it is backed up for a couple of miles there. International 15 on West California Road, got crash on the shoulder in the Westchester, 405 North and Howard View Parkway. That accident blocking the carpool lane. KFI and the sign helps get you there faster. I'm Jay Harman.
As you know, the interest rates went up again yesterday. Federal Reserve jacked them up. As the rates go up, the payments go up, credit is harder to get, and same time for you, right? You were ready to get a new set of teeth from Cunning Dental. You were going to get a smile transformation. Well, you still can. Because Cunning Dental is offering a payment plan that will not beat you. Favorable, competitive terms. You lock in the payment plan, and you will get this beautiful natural looking smile transformation. You keep it today with Cunning Dental. Call them now, lock in the payment plan. 888-640-SMILE. 888-640-SMILE.
As a walking pharmacist, I talk with people all the time about little tips and tricks for filling the Medicare prescription. Like taking advantage of Walgreens 90-day refills to save them a trip, or using a refill by scan, which is super easy and right on your phone. And for anybody worried about prescription costs, I say, hey, you got this, with low-cost copays on many medications. Let's talk about making things easier. Walgreens is here, so your way and save has never been. 1-877-566-KAR
Car prices at an all-time high. Our donors are now taking credit for you sellers. Donate at carsforgood.org and your car can pick up tomorrow. Now accepting donations of land, homes, buildings, or any kind of real estate. Call Service Champions for an $88 per kitchen heater tune-up or visit ServiceChampions.com. More stimulating talk.
And I have the radio station.
Johnny Ken Show, John Cobell, KFO, KFI, AM 640 live everywhere on the iHeartRadio app. The Chinese balloon is headed for North Carolina. Oh, already? And who's the silver champion? I think it got caught up in the jet stream, and it's very quickly across the country. And the talk is now that once it gets over the Atlantic Ocean, we're going to shoot it down. And then we're going to go out and grab all the technology equipment. Oh, fly on them. That's right. To see what it is, what that's made of, and what kind of information they were gathering. Wow. So this will be exciting. Let's just say there's a rumor it's dropping biological agents over the Midwest. Oh, it's probably this winter's Manitoba. That's right. A new illness. Yeah, the spread easily. Germ bomb. Oh, so we'll get more on that coming up. There's actually, I found a couple of very current news stories about it. Oh, we have Alex Stone coming on in 1 hour, too, with all the details to talk about the Chinese weather balloon. No, not the weather balloon, surveillance balloon. No, coming up in 15 minutes, another word. Two words, actually. You can win $1,000 in cash to KFI Cash Rental contest. Next hour, we'll bring us some more slime. They're here, along with a hack for the dumpster. We're going to start this hour by talking about another top tragedy. A police officer up in Fresno County, in a small town called Selma, was murdered. He apparently was shot by a man named Nathaniel Dixon, 22 years old, who was on probation as part of California's AB 109 law, commonly called prisoner realignment. We call it prisoner dumping. Basically, in essence of the law was, well, once they're released to state custody, if they do anything to violate the terms of their release, you in the local county, you do it. We don't want you to send it back to state prison. Because again, as was started in 2011, it's all about ending the prison. Now, well, they put this guy in a fast track. He was supposed to spend 5 years in prison for various crimes.